Hi dear friends, Chris here. I hope everybody is wonderful today. So it is August 24th, 2023. I'm going to do a little WIP in chat. Excuse me for 1 second. So this is kind of my WIP in chat for the event I'm hosting with Maritza and Miranda, which is Rude, Nude, and Crude 2023. Last year I did more, weekly ones, I think, with music and stuff. Talked about, adult music. Not this year, though. Let me go back to the beginning. If this is your first time here, welcome. I hope you enjoy the video. And if you do, please do those YouTube things like subscribe, share, comment, etc. It'll be much appreciated by me. And to all my dear friends and true blues out there, thank you so much for your continued love, support, kindness, and friendship. It means the world to me. So, I'm working on my Dorothy and Toto for Oz and Og. I finished my painting for Rude, Nude, and Crude. I don't have it right now, but I will put it at the end of the video. So stay tuned or fast forward if you don't want to hear the other stuff that I talk about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about event stuff and dime painting stuff first, and then I'm going to just move on to other topics. So if you don't want to hear the other topics, if you just wonder about event stuff or whatever, or dime painting stuff, I should say, you can just fast forward to the end if you want to see my canvas at the end. I don't have it here right now. I have it in another room, which, of course, isn't it always the way? It's been sitting here for a couple weeks. The minute I move it, now I need it. So I gotta go get it out again. But yeah, so let's just get to it. I'm just gonna start dime painting. This is actually round 4, or try 4, or take 4, I should say, of this WIP in chat. Mainly because, I kind of have thought in the past, and maybe I've done it, maybe I haven't, I don't remember, who knows. My memory is non-existent. But, because I don't have a lot going on in life, and this and that and the other thing, the only thing I really have to talk about are, entertainment stuff, or news stuff, or my feelings and emotions. And so I was kind of like, well, I was going through something the last few weeks. I'm fine, don't worry about it. And I just wanted to kind of talk about it. I don't know, because I don't really have anyone to talk to about stuff like that. In real life kind of thing. I could talk to, obviously, friends here, and I have talked a little about it. A tiny bit about it, but anyways, so it doesn't matter anymore. I kind of got over it after a couple of days, but then I kind of wanted to bring it up, just as whether it's a getting to know me kind of, it's just something about me, or I don't know, I'm just weird that way. Long story long, I started talking about it, and I just didn't like how it was coming out, because it's the kind of thing where I don't want to reveal too much, or I don't want to say too much, but, no matter what I say, it's not going to come out right. So I tried, I failed, and I was going to use it kind of as therapy time. And I always kind of wanted to do that. It was well, my WIP in chats are going to be therapy time with Chris. You're the therapist, I'm the patient. But yes, I didn't do it. I'm just not going to do that right now, at least. I tried, it didn't work out, so that's what I was going to do. So what I'm going to do today is talk about, like I said, the dime painting stuff, and then I'm going to talk about a couple other topics that aren't really, emotional type stuff or whatever. So let's talk about the events. Obviously, like I said, I'm working on this for Oz and Og. This is a wonderful gift from my dear, dear friend Miranda. Thank you so much. I absolutely adore it. It's really fun to do, too. I really have had a great time doing this canvas. And then, I started this pretty right away when I got it, and then I put it down for a few weeks because I had other projects I was doing, and so now I'm picking it back up, and I'm really flying through it. Before I get to the Rude, Nude, and Crude, let me talk about other upcoming events, or what was going to be, what can be coming, I don't know, all that good stuff. So in September, we were supposed to do an event, me, myself, Angie, and my friend Libby, but, I mean, whether both or either of them decide to do it is really, or go on to do it, is really up to them. I'm not going to be doing it this year. And it was called Jewel of the Nile. It was supposed to be done in September. It was an Egyptian themed event. I still would love to do one, but the thing is, it's just, listen, it's almost September now. Even if it, as far as I was concerned, it was probably just going to be like a DP along. It wasn't like an official event thing. But, if you still have to like let people know about it and promote it and all that kind of stuff, and I didn't do that, and it's a very specific what's the word? It's a very specific thing, so it's not something you could just lump all together and say, ooh, we're gonna do something, that has like a dog in it, and it could be anything, doing something Egyptian is kind of very genre specific. So if somebody wanted to join in, and I didn't anticipate tons of people anyways, because again, there's not tons of art out there that has that, and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, so we didn't push it or promote it very much at all. I mean, we maybe brought it up every so often here and there somewhere, but and then Libby has a smaller channel, and doesn't have tons of content, and I can't, I didn't want to if it was just me and her, I didn't want to just have her do everything or me do everything, or whatever, so. And Angie has kind of taken like a little sabbatical, it seems like, from YouTube. So it's just not the right time as far as I'm concerned. And for my participation, like I said, maybe in the future, it'll happen maybe next year, but not for me this year. So that's that. There are 2 other events right now that I can think of that I'll be participating in. I did not look at the list lately, so I don't know what's on the list of, or of events. I probably should have looked beforehand, but right now I can only think of 2 that I'm planning on doing, and that's in October. Again, 2 very dear friends, Kokisho and Maritza, are doing a domestic violence event, and I think it's basically, you could always look at the Facebook page. I'll try to remember to link it in the description box below, and it's to bring awareness to it. It's a charity event, so there'll be like auctions and raffles and stuff for that, for items, to raise money for a basically a domestic violence sanctuary type place in Atlanta, I believe, or Georgia at least, I should say. So I'm going to participate in that. I have to support my 2 great friends there in a excellent, worthy, important cause. And so that's in October. And again, I'll link it below in case you don't know about it, and get more details about it through the Facebook page. And in November, I believe, my friend Jack from Dime Painting with Jack, I think that's her channel name. I'm sorry, I get channel names wrong all the time. She's doing a like cat type event. I think it was like as meant to be like a Hello Kitty thing, but I think she just broadened it into just regular, just like any kind of cats probably will do. I have a couple Hello Kitty canvases that I'm going to do for the event. So that's kind of fun. And that's really it. You know, obviously at the end of the year in December, there's the Christmas elves. I don't know if I'll do it or be asked to do it or if I'll do it yet. I don't know. Things depend. We'll see. And as far as hosting goes, as far as that, I think that's all I can think of right now. Like I said, I didn't look at the event list lately, so something else might pop up here or there, and I might do that. But anyways, I'm just you know, talking to talk about Rude, Nude, and Crude. So obviously this is our second year doing it. It's for the whole month of August. So we're doing the 5 weeks because August does have 5 weeks. Anybody still anyone participating, please keep posting your progress pics throughout till the end. And we love a finished picture if you got it finished. If not, don't worry about it. And yeah, so it's really great. You know, this year was a lot better, or I feel it was a lot better doing the event, because last year was two things. First off, I did a canvas. I love the way the canvas turned out, but it was like a grayscale kind of image, and it was a custom, and the symbols were dark, and you know, obviously with the grayscale, it being so you know, dark, and just it was kind of hot, and it was a confetti in a lot of areas, so it was a little bit hard to get through by the end. Like the first half of it, I kind of was really going great, but then by the second half, it was kind of like feeling really hard to get through. But I did get through it, and I love the result from it. This year I did, I think, a Dragon Ball Z character, which, by the way, I think that's anime, right, guys? If it's anime, don't call that a cartoon, because you get the anime people really upset if you do that. But yeah, so that was much better as far as doing the canvas this year, because there was a lot of color blocking in this one, and there was color, so yeah, and so that's number one reason why, you know, it was a little bit was a little more freeing this year. But also I participated in like 9 events last year in August. It was crazy, and I did 3 or 4 canvases. I worked on them, so I really overstretched or overdid, you know, the event thing. I was trying to challenge myself, and I think I was successful. I don't remember. I don't remember if I finished them all. I probably did, but it just took me out. The problem was it took me out of my own event. So this year, even though I'm not doing I didn't do like the weekly WIP and chats or anything, I have been able to look at the pictures a lot more on the Facebook group, and you know, keep track easier, and it doesn't feel like, you know, it's an obligation type thing. And so I really love seeing the pictures. Thank you guys so much for participating. I'm happy with the number. I don't remember how many we had last year, but I'm happy with the amount we had this year. I'm happy with the again, like I said, the participants. I really appreciate it. Most people are putting weekly pics out. Yeah, and it's great for us who just want to, you know, do a little something dirtier or darker or whatever, and, you know, sometimes there's not a place for it, you know. A lot of times you might not feel comfortable if you have like a social media, you don't want to put it out there, or worried about standards, or, you know, public standard with the social media maybe, or if you have like a YouTube type thing, maybe you don't want to put it on their channel or something. So if you're a creator, so it's a little group just for private group for people who know what they're getting into. Yeah, so I'm really happy about that. Other diamond painting stuff, I don't know. Apparently lots of stuff goes on. Again, nobody tells me nothing. I don't know anything that's happening. I heard the other day that there's some sort of dramas going on about things, and I don't know. Don't ask me for a clue because I have no idea. It's supposed to be just fun. Why is everybody taking everything so seriously all the time? Goodness. What else? As far as diamond painting, I think that's it. Oh, I've been doing my stained glass series. I hope you've been enjoying it. I just looked. So, basically everything I had ordered, because it's just the way it happens. It's not planned. It's just how it goes a lot of times. Because, all that with the PR stuff. It's like you get everything all at once, and you have to space out the videos, and then you have to reorder stuff from them, and it kind of gets in little clusters sometimes. So I have everything that I've been expecting, and so I haven't, as far as the stained glass stuff goes. So now I'm like, I don't know, should I continue with it or not? I don't want to get a million new, canvases, like regular canvases. But they do have great stained glass ones, and also they're coming out with now a holiday one since we're close to Halloween and Christmas. So I haven't looked good. I haven't looked very well yet, or very good, whatever the word it should be. But I did take a sneaky peek really quickly, and I did see pumpkins and Santa Clauses and skeletons and that kind of stuff in the stained glass. So I'm like, I don't know. Again, for me, it's about quality. So if I don't think it's going to look good, I'm not going to get it, even if I would like a holiday one. But we'll see. I haven't felt, like any kind of weird or unfortunate kind of twinges about not having special drills, because while they have had released new ones lately, I just haven't, again, doing a real quick search because I've been so in the stained glass world, I haven't really found tons that I was like, ooh, I love this, I need this, So it's kind of a good thing that the stained glass came upon the time now with how it goes. Anyways, my point is, I hope you're enjoying it. I don't know how much more I'll be doing or how much I'll be getting, but we shall see. And I think that's it about diamond painting stuff. So a topic that I wanted to talk about was, again, last night, because I am, okay, this is going to be a little bit of a long haul, guys, I won't lie, it's just my storytelling way. So, I'm not a reader. I don't know if I talked about this before. I feel like I have, but I know in my mind, how it works is I think about things I'm going to talk about, and I have a whole discussion in my mind, and either I never film it, or I do and I don't like it, or I do and it goes up and I don't remember I did it. So, who knows? But I don't expect anybody to remember a lot of the stuff that I talk about anyways. But I'm not a reader. I'm just not. I don't have the attention span, which is really only for reading. Like, I don't have an ADHD kind of thing. Like, I can pay attention perfectly well to people speaking, to TV shows, to music, to whatever. Except when I'm trying to read. It does not work for me. Even if it's just if I'm reading some sort of article, online, like some story or interview or something, listen, if that's more than like one page, I'm kind of speed reading and skipping through, and I was never been good at reading a lot, or even reading just a little bit. My mind wanders, and I'm thinking I could be doing other stuff. I could be dime painting. I could be eating. I could be watching TV. Excuse me. So many more things, and I just find it boring, and that's just not me. Now, I'm not proud of this. I don't think it's a good. I think it's a horrible thing. I think reading is a fabulous thing. I think it's important, but unfortunately, I don't have that, interest or gene or whatever you want to call it. So I just don't do it. However, I say all this to say, if you talk about, if you ask, what's your favorite author or whatever, or things like that, or any kind of favorite things, Agatha Christie. I adore Agatha Christie. Now, while I think I've only actually tried or finished, or maybe half finished one of her books, I love the adaptations of Christie. So, I love murder mysteries, and I love her characters of Marple and Poirot. Just love, love, love. And so, two things about that. What I find funny with readers is that they're never happy. And I really think I talked about this before. And I understand that because, most of the time we feel the first thing we see is what we like the best. And that kind of, I think, goes with reading as well. If somebody does a cover song or something, most people only like the original, and it's the same thing with books. It's like, no matter what, it's always like, the book is better. You hardly ever hear anyone say, the movie was so much better than the book, or, I liked the movie just as much as... It doesn't matter what it is. It's always, the book is better. So, all right, whatever. So I watch online. I watch a lot of reaction videos, and I watch a lot of reviews, let's say, or something, generally from readers about Christie stuff. And so whenever I watch, or even if I used to watch the actual adaptations, like the TV show / movie of Poirot and Marple, if you look at the comments, which I do, there's always people that says, this is nothing like the book. They changed this. They did that. Why did they do that? It's not very good. There's always people that do that. It's like, it does not matter what it is. They just cannot do it. Now, again, why I'm bringing this up is because I am so looking forward to the new Kenneth Branagh Poirot movie. I think it's called Murder in Venice, something like that. Oh my god, the trailer for the movie looks fantastic. Now, he has done 3 Poirot adaptations. He did Murder on the Orient Express. Now I'm lisping. Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile. Now, personally, I did not like them. And not because of the adaptation thing. Ooh, did I get rid of that? No, I didn't. Alright. I just thought that they weren't very good, honestly. Okay, before I move on, let me just remember what this was, a slash. Yeah. I just want to make sure I don't have any more in here. Okay, no. So I'm going to risk it and get rid of it. This is the bad thing I do sometimes. When I get down to the diamond painting, see, I only have, with this one, you can't see it, up here, I have the white area to do on her outfit, and then just this area, the sky area, and her face. So what happens is, a lot of times, I'm obsessed with looking for colors to see what I'm done with, and I want to get rid of them right away when I'm done with the colors. So sometimes, like we all do, we'll miss spots, and I'll be like, oh no, And most of the time it doesn't matter. I could just fill it up. Like if I did it in here, let's say, or well, even in here, you know, let's say this little club color, which is like a facial color. Like if I missed a few there, I could just put that extra color, that white color here that's in this. I'm just weird that way. So I just have to get rid of them when I'm coming down to the end of the painting. Before I'm de-kitting as I'm finishing. So anyways, back to the movie thing. So he did Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile. Two of my favorite stories, and yes, even though they are two of the most popular or well-known stories, but they are two of the best stories. I didn't like it only because, in a way, I thought it should have been number one. They should have been longer because I think he kind of for the audience nowadays who doesn't have an attention span, I think he tried to, you know, shorten it, which took away a lot of the character development from everybody else, all the other characters, you know, and so they're trying to establish him and his Poirot and his quirky ways and how he does things. Plus, all of a sudden, he's like doing all this action stuff, which is ridiculous, or at least unneeded. You know, I'm not somebody who says, "Oh, this is Poirot." Like a lot of people do say, that's a problem. Poirot isn't the kind of character who would be jumping on top of trains and to wrangle guns out of somebody. No, he's not. He's not in the book, and he's not in other adaptations. But you know what? This is how they wrote it for this one, so go with it. I just don't think it worked, you know. And I did like Death on the Nile a little bit better, though. I will say that. It was certainly the sets and the stuff are gorgeous, and all that ship. Oh my God, stunning. Anyways, so I don't remember where I was going with this. So those are the other two. So he's making a third. They're doing a third one, and again, it's called, I think, Murder in Venice or something. This is supposed to be, from what I understand, an adaptation of a lesser-known story called Halloween, which ironically is one of my favorite Poirot in the TV series with David Suchet, who's the best Poirot ever. That's one of my favorite TV movies that they did of it, of that series. It's called Halloween. But it looks completely different from the series. In this one, they're in Venice, or for whatever reason he's in Venice, and again, it's an all-star cast, and it looks like more of a thriller, supernatural type thing, with mediums and, you know, crazy stuff happening, and it just looks really fabulous. The music is spooky. Again, they have the creepy masks on in the trailer, and so yeah, I was watching a video the other day, and saw this guy was like, "Oh, I seen this is coming out, and I bet it's going to be horrible. This looks like nothing from the book. You know, this, that, and the other thing." And it's like, people, come on, just enjoy it. You just separate it. They're two separate entities. You know, it's based on. This is why it's called adaptation and based on. It's based on the story, based on the character, based on. It's not a documentary where it has to go, you know, almost, you know, just to the letter of what it was, you know. So that is just something that really just bothers me so much. It's like, you can enjoy both. You can enjoy the movie, but then just think of the book, but just think of the movie or the show or whatever as something completely different. I don't know. It's just, I can like two things at the same time. I don't know why so many other people can't. Oh, yes. Oh no, I didn't get to that one. I have another kind of story that way. But I'll get to that later. So, yeah, and so, well, yeah, let me continue now. I only have two other topics I want to bring up. So I first started talking about Christie and the characters. I don't know if you're, I was going to say, you're probably wondering how I know about them if I don't read. Well, I'll tell you how. So, like I said, there's been adaptations over the many years of her stories. She's the most, basically, probably successful author ever, or certainly mystery writer ever. But I must have been in high school, probably, maybe middle school, but probably high school. And PBS had PBS Mysteries, and they would play the series. So that what they would do is, I first was introduced to Christie's work through PBS Mysteries, and it was a Marple movie, and I still remember what it was because I have very bad memory, like I said, but I remember that it was a movie called A Murder is Announced. I love that story. After watching it, of course, and so I watched other ones. And that version was done by somebody who most people actually think is the best Marple, but I personally don't. The lady is named Joan Hickson. It was made in the early 1980s, probably like 82 or 81 or something. And again, most people think she's the best one because it's loyal to how the book is. Marple supposedly in the book, again, because I didn't read it, is kind of much more of a stern, serious character. She doesn't. Oh, and this, so that's how this Joan Hickson portrayed her in the Marples that films that she was in on PBS, and which is probably also really done for most likely BBC. And so people like her because she's the most accurate to the books. So now, while I loved that movie, and I still actually do, I haven't seen it in a while though. Her series of films is my least favorite of all of them because I find, while most people love her, I think they don't use her enough. And I kind of wondering, that's how it must be in the book too, is that, hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. So I don't think they used her enough. Because what I'm willing to think how she's described as and how she is written is that, because unlike, a lot of these characters, these mystery characters, that she's, is not a private detective. She's not an actual detective. And unlike someone like, let's say, J.B. Fletcher, who's a mystery writer and just kind of falls into things, she kind of relies on, hearing about stuff and then deducing from what people tell her, or she has other people gather information for her, and then bring it back to her and tell her. And I just don't think she's in it enough in all of these things. And I don't know. It does feel very. The positive that I liked about them is it does feel very English. It does feel very, probably I'm sure the time period is probably 30s or 40s, and it does feel really accurate to what that time period probably felt like. That's for sure, and the way it's filmed. But like I said, I still like them, but they're not my favorite. And so that's how I came to know her, and through that I got to know the Poirot character. And so the Poirot series is started out as a lot of them were just 1 hour episodes, probably for most of those are, I'm assuming, short stories, and then in between there were some feature length movies. in the series, and then later on, it was just feature-length movies. And I actually prefer, again, I'm contrarian to a lot of people. A lot of people like the earlier stuff. I like the later stuff. It's more serious and more, in a way, dark, while the earlier stuff, and I'm not somebody who loved the other characters, like the Hastings, who's his like, kind of dumb companion. Like, I didn't really care about him either way. And his secretary is fine, but she's not ever in it very much. So I don't really care if she's there or not. So, anyways, that's kind of how I came across them. And there's also, of course, been feature films. There's been, in the 60s, there's 4 movies done by Margaret Rutherford, who I love those series of actual feature films. And I don't remember if any of them are even Marple movies that she was in. They might have, I think maybe one of them might have been or something. I think one they may have just used her as basically a name and then made up a new story. Another one, I think they took a Poirot book. I'm not sure. I don't really care about that stuff. I just enjoyed the series with her. And why I liked her so much is that there was a lot of humor in the way Margaret Rutherford portrayed her, and it had this kind of fun music throughout the series. And it didn't feel very like heavy or serious, so it was kind of, again, it was fun. Murder can be fun. And yeah, and then there were other ones, again, Joan Hickson, like I said. There were a couple other ones that were like one-offs. I think Angela Lansbury played her once, but I don't remember seeing her. I think and I don't remember, there was another one, I think, was that one the one with her, with Elizabeth Taylor? Elizabeth Taylor wasn't Marple, though. I don't know if it was the same movie or not. I'm not sure. If I seen it, it was a long time ago and I don't remember. And then later on, again in the 2000s, it was ITV, I believe, and with PBS, they did a series called Marple, and it had wound up having 2 different actresses playing Marple. My personal favorite Marple ever was in that, and she was in the first 3 series. Her name was Geraldine McEwen. Again, it had a lot of somewhat I liked humor, and just her character, her quirkiness, really. But not as, kind of, I can't describe it. It doesn't matter. Anyways, and then there was another one, and after that, for whatever reason, she decided to stop playing her, so they had another actress come in and start playing her. Oh, I can't remember her name. It's driving me crazy. She was excellent. I loved her too. But if I was ranking the Marples, I'd put Geraldine McEwen. Again, that's from the first, the 2000s Marples. And then I put Margaret Rutherford from the 60s. Although, again, that's only 4 movies, and there's one of the movies I didn't really care for, but I still loved her performance. Then the third ranked, I'd put the second Marple from the 2000 thing. I can't remember her name, I'm sorry. Oh, Geraldine her last name is Mackenzie. And then finally, I would put Joan Hickson at last. But I did like them all. The same thing with Poirot. They had really 3 kind of Poirots, and a couple one-offs here and there. David Suchet was definitely the best. He's the best Poirot ever. Hands down, no question. But I also like Peter Ustinov as Poirot. Again, he gave him a little bit of humor and personality and quirkiness to him. And finally, there was Albert Finney, who was in Murder on the Orient Express. He was a little more serious and cocky and kind of smarmy. Again, all great performances, but that was kind of my least favorite performance of Poirot. And so that's how I got into them. And I love the series. I watch it over and over. I mean, I can't help it. I just have that obsessive personality that, there's not a lot of things I like, so I just keep watching it over and over and over. Let's move on to another topic. I mean, you're probably bored to tears about that. One real quick topic I'll get to. So, we have been watching, I should say, me and my dad have been watching The Amazing Race. Now, it's not a new season, but we went back to the beginning to watch it. So I have always been a fan of The Amazing Race. It's my favorite, reality competition series. Like most things, the first seasons are the best. So really, I have watched all the seasons, but I gotta tell you, there are seasons that we've watched that I just don't remember anybody. Because, again, after a while, it gets kind of just like, they're just people, they're just, can't remember. I don't know. But, so really, for me, the first dozen seasons are really good. After that, it just gets performed, been there, done that. And it's fine. It's I still watch it. It's not bad. I'm just saying, as far as memorable teams, memorable challenges, memorable anything, you just don't get that anymore. It just, for whatever reason, it just is never the same as the first ones. It's maybe because it just gets formulaic. And so, of course, my favorite team ever is Charlotte and Miranda. They were on season 5. Season 5 is my favorite season. Excuse me. Charlotte is a little person, and they're cousins, and they're just fabulous. They returned later on. I want to say, is it season 11? Something like that. To do an All-Stars. And, again, that was another fabulous season. Not because they were on those 2 seasons, but just the strength of the teams and the challenges and everything. Those really were my 2 favorites. There were other great seasons, of course, and other great teams and everything, but I'm just pointing them out. Those are my 2 favorites. And so we've been rewatching them. We went back to the beginning to watch them for a number of months now, because it takes a while to go through all of them. So we just finished, I think, season 17, and meanwhile there's 35 or 36 seasons. So we're only halfway through. But why am I talking about this and telling you? I cannot believe, and now the show started in who knows, 2000, around, let's say 2003, 2004, 2005, something like that. And it's still going. Excuse me. I can't believe the men on some of these teams, well, even the women, but I'll get to the women in a minute, but the men on some of these teams, the misogyny, is something else. The season we just finished had this guy. He was so misogynistic, and he's not only that. Oh, you think, well, someone in his 50s or 60s, because they have different age range. No, this guy was a young guy, and it's wow, unbelievable that. And the season was from 2010, I think. It's 2010, you're a really young guy, and here you are, so misogynistic on TV for the world to see, and your stupid girlfriend just puts up with it. It's wow. And now, speaking about the girlfriends, again, some of these women, I just, it's sad. It's so sad that they just put up with some of these men, and it's there's only so much you feel sorry for. in the beginning you're like, oh, this is horrible. By the end, it's like, I don't care. You deserve it in a way. If you're gonna, because he's gonna sit there, yell at you, berate you, say all this horrible stuff, and sometimes they will fight back, sometimes they won't. I call them, most of them though, I call them weak-willed women, and I don't believe this has to do with any kind of abuse thing or anything. I just think this is who they are, and they'll go through the whole episode, which an episode is, usually like spans over 12 hours, maybe a day or so, whatever. And by the end of it, what happens? Oh, it was a bad day, but I love him so much, and he's just the best. And yeah, we fight. We just have to fix our communication, but it'll be better. And oh, please, it's ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous. But my point of this was talking about the misogyny, because it's one thing to fight with somebody a lot, and I get, I think a lot of it comes from, a lot of the fighting on that show, or the yelling, comes from people who are just very competitive. But there are certain times and certain men who it goes beyond the competitiveness, you can tell, and it goes into this, I don't want to call it abuse, because they're not alleging any sort of abuse, but just plain out misogyny, and it's sometimes, so it was a little hard to watch, honestly. Sometimes, yeah, I don't like hearing people being yelled at all the time, and so that's hard to watch generally, but I just bring it up because, again, this specific season, there was a guy there who, he didn't even have to yell at her all the time, but he was so condescending, because he was like, he went to like an Ivy League school and she didn't. So anytime she didn't know something, or whatever, I mean, he just was so condescending towards her. And I can't think of any examples right now. My mind's kind of going blank, but it's like, how can you just put up with that and just... I'm sorry, no. You don't need to be treated that way. Get out. I mean, ugh. Anyways. There was another topic I wanted to talk about, but I don't remember what it was. So let's go to the last one, and then we'll be gone for today. I'm going to talk about And Just Like That. I love that show. So for anybody who doesn't know, And Just Like That is basically the sequel or the reboot, whatever you want to call it, to Sex and the City. I was a fan of Sex and the City. I bought the box set in the big pink, what do you call it, like felty kind of DVD set. Funny enough, I actually haven't watched Sex and the City, really. Maybe I watched it once since it was originally on, all through, even though it was a great show. I just, for whatever reason, it's just not a show I go back to watch. I also love the first movie. Oh God, that first movie was fabulous. And so they did last couple of years, they have done a reboot again, or, sequel, or whatever you want to call it, with 3 of the ladies. And it's funny because there's a number of controversies or topics to talk about. First, let's talk about the fact that it's the kind of thing where no matter what you do, you just can't win. So, something that was criticized, I think kind of, quite honestly, after the show was on, was that, there's not enough diversity. That you have, a show about women in the city, and yet all you see is white people, or their own, the cast is all white, or something like that. Okay. Here's the thing. It's about a group of 4 friends yes, there's plenty of people who have diversity in their lives. There's plenty of people who have diverse friends. But guess what? There's also plenty of people who don't. And if they do have diversity in friends and people in their lives, yeah, but that doesn't mean they hang out with all together. There's lots of, friends or groups of friends who you only hang out with certain times or certain people or whatever. I just always thought that was kind of a lame thing to attack them after the fact. I mean, maybe they were talking about it during that time, but I don't remember that. I mean, they did the same thing with friends, too. It's like, yeah, of course, I love diversity. I'm all for it. I think it's important. And I love, again, going back to the adaptions, they change a lot of stuff like sexualities and races in a lot of the Christie adaptions, to be probably to be more diverse. And I think that's great. And, but I just didn't think that was really realistic. We're not, they're just people who just, and not only that, these are upper class type women. So, that, who do you really think they're going to be hanging out with? Mostly upper class white women. Come on now. It is what it is. And the show was about, not only about their friendship, but it was about dating too. So, the dating and the sex lives were the main sort of focus of them talking about and all that. So, I don't know. It's just, I kind of always thought that was kind of a ridiculous thing. Anyways. So then, again, to my point, well, now this reboot of the series, guess what? Saying, you know what, we should have had more diversity. So what they do, they add diversity. Now they're criticizing for adding diversity. Oh, you're just putting in for tokens. Oh, this, so that. Again, you can't win. So you don't have them in you're criticized for not having people in. You put them in. Now you're criticizing for putting them in. Pick a side. Pick a side. And you know what? The same people are the ones criticizing. It's not like you have a bunch of racists saying, oh, we don't want to see all these people of color in the show. No, it's the same people who were criticizing before for not having diversity. It's just so ridiculous. Excuse me. And then, before I get to my thoughts on the show, then you have the people who just, again, like usual, just negative Nancy's who just don't like it. It's like, listen, if you don't like it, fine. Again, if it is for what it is, you don't like it, that's fine. It's all personal choice. There's plenty of things that I don't like that, you might like. Oh, I think a lot of the people who say they don't like it, though, excuse me, sorry. I need just take a drink. I don't think they don't like it because of, just for the fact that it's not the Sex and the City that was Sex and the City. And then, excuse me, just like that. It's changed. You're not going to have a show about women in their 20s/30s be the same as a women in their 50s, and it be the same sort of thing. This is ridiculous. This is absurd to think that in 20 years none of them has changed. Come on now. Or grown, or anything, But no, you keep hearing how people don't like it because it's not what it was. Oh, that's the point. If what it was, it's going to be a pale comparison. Why would you want something what it was? No. The fact that it isn't what it was is what makes it great, in my opinion. I actually have, this is where I'm getting to my opinion of the show, I actually think it's a whole lot better show than Sex and the City was. And I was a fan of Sex and the City. I thought it was funny and smart and, just well acted and well done and all that good stuff. I actually think it's so much better. I think that people don't like it because they grew up. Not only the people grew up, but the women in the show grew up. The characters. You know, they're, again, like I said, they're not the same kind of characters. And I think the people who don't like it are looking at their youth and saying, and looking at their life now and feeling nostalgia or you know, looking back saying that was my life. Well, yeah, it was, but you're not that in that place no more, you know? Now they do have friends with diversity. They have the character Miranda, who, I guess spoiler alert if anybody cares, who's now questioning her sexuality. And they have a trans person on there, or a non-binary, or I'm not exactly sure. Not a trans person, but I'm a little confused. Even in my own culture and people. And the most hated character on TV is this character called Che. Oh, they're breaking up Miranda's happy home. And it's like, yeah, Miranda's not happy home is not happy. You know, people question their sexuality at times, and, you know, it's just, this kind of character exists of Che in the world, you know, and do I like her? No, or them, is there, they, them. No, not necessarily. I don't dislike or like, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't be there. You know, it's just, quite honestly, there's on the show, my favorite character is this character called Seema. She's my favorite character. She's not in it a whole lot, but just enough. She's a new character that Carrie befriends, a real estate woman. I just really love her. But yeah, I just think and it shows also them kind of having friends outside their friend group. Shocker that people have friends outside your main four, like, you know, and it shows them, you know, in their personal lives and marriages and relationships and all that. And I just think it's so much stronger of a show than it was. But because, again, people want to compare it and people want to just look back at what was, and they can't accept that this could be good too. No. So that's kind of just bothered me. It's like, I don't know. Anyways, oops. I think that's all I have for you today. I think I've been on long enough, probably near an hour. Sorry for, again, if I rambled or talked too much, or I hope you were able to make sense out of everything I said. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Stay tuned, because I want to show you my canvas, alright? So I'll be right back. Okay, so here it is, the finish for Rude, Nude, and Crude 2023. The Dragon Ball Z character. So, let's get close. Sorry for the lighting and all in here. So, the illustration is an 85 by, or 45 by 85. Lots of beautiful blues. In his hair. And then color on him. And his ripped chest. So let's talk about it a little bit as a painting. I'll give you a quick little post review. So working on it was fine from what I remember. Again, I'm glad there was a lot of color blocking in this. Yes, usual, my usual thing now. There were, you know, some areas where there were colors that don't need to be, but it is what it is. It wasn't that bad in this one, I don't think. My main issue I had with this was kind of the stickiness, I would say, of the drills. When you put them on, they were fine. But if you tried to roll the canvas, or maybe sometimes when I had the tray on there and it moved a little bit, some of the drills might move a little bit. So the stickiness wasn't fabulous in this one, truth be told. But everything else I think was perfectly fine, from what I remember. Again, bad memory. But yeah, so this is my canvas from Rude, Nude, and Crude. RudeCrudeNude, yes, that's right. 2023. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It was mostly fun to do, mostly. Yeah. And I hope you all like it. Again, it wasn't my, you know, preference. I would have liked to do something else, do another custom, but I didn't get a chance to. I'll show you what I did last year. For anybody who doesn't know or remember, that is the one I did last year. That's a custom that I had done, again, in a grayscale, and it turned out absolutely fabulous. Love, love, love it. So, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the WIP and chat, and enjoyed the finish. And I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.